Okay, it's the next day, okay? It's October 9th of 2025, going on 4:30 in the morning, okay? You can hear my little bugaroo making noise in there, my little Houdini baby. Yeah, okay? He woke up with that twitching. But it's not a seizure. It's body spasms or something. Because when he goes to sit up and stuff, right? It's the same kind of movement. So, either or. He's awake, making noise. You can hear him. Right. I'm going to title this video, Social Workers Want to Make Everybody Feel Bad. Basically. Because we had that quote-unquote family meeting yesterday, right? I'm telling you, people, if it comes to it, I'll take them to court. I will go to the Supreme Court. I will file another lawsuit against MCFD and the province of British Columbia, Canada. Again, I will put the appeal that I never did get a chance to submit, right? Because you can't get a lawyer for these things, because they want you completely disenfranchised so they can walk all over you and do what they want, these people. It doesn't matter if it's coming in from the healthcare system, justice system, child development system, whatever, you know, Ministry of Children and Family Development, just whatever, government workers in general, period, it doesn't matter. The healthcare system is a big one, right? And then, of course, the justice system covers up heinous crimes, criminal activity on all levels, within the banking system, like with what they did with Uncle John, and obviously the healthcare system. John, Shimei, you can even say Sierra, because her organs were illegally harvested as well, I'm sure. Oh yeah. What the cops do, because, you know, Sierra was lured to her death, and it was a big gong show with that. And the birth injury of innocent children, yeah, covered up that through the healthcare system with the negligence of the mother at the birthing process at that time, her going into labor and everything. Illegal evictions, whether it was Sierra in December of 2012 in the middle of winter, that basically turned her into a junkie for 8 years so that she could be pimped out in the streets. Right? They covered up that. They covered up the illegal eviction of me with 5 dependent children in 2003 when they cut me off of social assistance illegally under a legislation that wasn't even in effect. And then they just simply slapped on the title of statute of limitation. I should have taken them to court then, not when I realized after the fact of what they did. But it still doesn't make it insignificant, even though years went by before I discovered what they did was wrong. And they're the professionals, right? They're the ones that are supposed to protect the public and, you know, that type of thing, right? And they didn't. They put us all at risk to homelessness in 2003 in January in the middle of winter. Now we're going into middle of winter again, and they're starting up with their antics, making, you know, subliminal threats in terms of, well, they want me to basically empty out the bedroom of the fabrics and my clothes that I took from my bedroom, as my bedroom's going into the pantry, right? And I'm starting to liquidate fabric, and I'm making plans to liquidate my clothes. They're not even giving me a chance to liquidate these things, people. They just want me to get rid of them. You will own nothing, and we will tell you that you will be happy. But we're not happy. Everybody is depressed. Everybody. Everybody. Marcane, Marina, Tisha, Andre, me, Amari's feeling insecure. Okay? And, you know, I don't know, like, the fabric, for me, is a good tool to get Andre to learn about measurements, learn about money, learn about marketing, right? Because, you know, it's not like I haven't been asking people, Tisha to help me to sell stuff, or Kay Marina to help me sell stuff, but they don't. They're always busy, busy, busy. Okay, fine. Andre's old enough now, right? He's got computer skills. He's got reading and comprehension skills. And he's got, you know, the time and the energy to apply those skills to learn new skills. But if they're taking away the items for him to learn with, so he has nothing, you will own nothing, then they're taking away an opportunity for him to build on his math skills, whether it's measurements, money, learning how to manage money, percentages, right? Because you will be working in percentages, just the whole 9 yards, so that the room can be empty. Well, not empty, but if Andre wants, he can go use the room. But I've already talked it over with Andre. Would you use it? And if you wouldn't, why? And as it is, you know, we've adapted around Amari's needs. We know what works. And it is what it is. We didn't ask Amari to be born this way. That happened through government negligence with their workers. Okay? And then they tried to cover it up by blaming Shimei for something that they did wrong in terms of dragging out her labor for over 5 days. When she probably should have had a C-section within the first day or two of going into labor. Or at least be admitted into the hospital and monitored properly, versus sending her home, and then she'd go back and send her back home, and then she'd go back, and then they dragged it out, and then they did the emergency C-section, which by that time was too late. And then they covered their tracks with a bunch of freaking lies. Okay? And then the government covered it up by saying it was trivialous and a waste of the court's time. As you had Judge Ross, not even, you know, they do a judgment. Shut up! His voice is changing. He's coming into a whole new milestone, making new noises too. I said, Andre, what's that noise? He goes, that's Amari. I said, well, what kind of noise is that? I never heard that noise before. Oh, it's a new noise. I guess he puts his, he goes, and I'm like, holy crumb. So the point is, they're taking away, well, you can say gainful employment, even though it's just a little bit of money on it, because, you know, I'm going to give Andre, you know, an opportunity to make a bit of commission on it. So he learns what commission means. He learns what percentages, you know, he starts working with percentages. Obviously, he's going to have to tally up the money, keep track, learn about invoices and ledgers, and because we're going to measure everything, and we're going to label it, and, you know, take pictures, try and sell it, but that all takes time, especially when you're in a transitional stage. No, that's not what they want. They want that room to sit empty. I guess like it sat empty when I was going to court 22 times fighting for Andre, and Shimei was downstairs. Depressed and suicidal. Yeah. Because they were trying to, what? What did they try to do? They put my family into suicide mode for over a year. I told them that at that meeting, like, you know, you guys, like, you already destroyed Sierra. You can say you destroyed Shimei, because if it was your antics that disrupted the house, everybody was happy until you showed up and kicked out Sierra. And once that happened, it was a domino effect. And what happened? Shimei made bad choice, right? Hooked up with Julian, right? Sure, she got her honors in school, but you know. And then what? The dirty cops came in 2018, went into her medical files and said, "Oh, Shimei was suicidal in 2017." Well, I wonder why. Or it was 2014. I wonder why. Why? Because you social services took Andre. Everybody was suicidal. But not everybody in the house got murdered. Yet. Only 2. Shimei and Sierra. As if it was some sort of pack with the Ku Klux Klan or something. Yeah, through the good old boys club. Seriously. With their freaking masochist, freaking spiked, bracelets. Right? Like, who goes to work with a black, silver spiked bracelet as a, you know, to get bodies out of a house? Dead bodies at that. Who does that? Well, obviously somebody that's practicing something is connected to some sort of organization, right? What do they call those like secret society? Yeah. We're right back in it. We're right back in it, people. Andre wants to run away from the cops if the cops show up, because we don't trust these social workers, right? They come in with their one thing, then they add on another, and then another, right? And they keep, you know, right? And like he said, I don't want to talk to them, because he's already told them what he thinks, right? And what he wants. But they want to, you know, they want to egg him on, you know, they want to find his weak spot, and, you know, they want to manipulate the situation so that they can validate what they're doing, right? And I said, you know, Andre, the way they're acting right now, like, don't be surprised if they don't come to the house with the fucking cops yet. Try and take Amari, and what, are they going to take you too? And he goes, no. He said, I'm running away. I said, well, where are we going to go? Well, what can you do? Oh, I'm going to a safe house. Brad showed me where there's a safe house. So he's already making plans to run away from these people. Oh, wow. Well, I'm, like when Marcane was doing his stupid crap, I told Andre, you know, if it ever gets real bad and that is not around, you know, you can go to like a homeless shelter or someplace like that, and they'll hook you up with workers, social workers, who will help you. Yeah, right. What bad advice that was. Now, all he wants to do is run away from them. He can't stand them. Doesn't want to talk to them, right? Doesn't trust the police. We don't, none of us. We don't. Marcane's like, oh, here we go again. We have, you know, you have all the power, you know, it's, and then like, it doesn't matter what we have to say, because it's all about what you guys want, and, you know, Tisha's having a nervous fucking breakdown, and I'm ready for war. On three levels, Supreme Court, Provincial Court, and Civil Claims Court. You want me to get rid of my shit? I'm already at the tail end of my stuff in terms of don't got much left. What little left I have, I'm going to use it as a learning tool, right? I already explained to you, as well as maybe pay down some bills so I can get the hell out of this house. To only end up in a worse situation because of what our government's been doing with the housing market. If you think this is bad, wait until we move. Then those social workers are going to come back and say, oh, it's still not. Oh, this is worse than what you had. Well, whose fault is that? Mine? I don't think so. No, it's a setup. It's a setup all the way around. And you guys are trying to get me evicted from my house. No, we're not. Yes, you are. When you're coming in here and you're telling people to get rid of their desks and to move this and to get rid of $25,000 or $30,000 or $40,000 worth of, fabrics and those kind of things. Damn right. It's taking away an opportunity from a boy to be able to get his fingers and wrap his mind around math and what it means to, sell things and make money and calculate percentages and do measurements and that kind of stuff, run a business, just get those fundamental skills. You're robbing him of that. Throwing out $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 worth of fucking fabric, and for what? A room to sit there fucking empty that nobody's going to use? So Andre can go in there and get a bloody nose because it's so bloody hot in there all the time? Right? Like, it's like a steam bath, and it gets real. Well, it's not a steam bath. It gets real dry. And even if I put a fish tank in there to put water into moisture into the air, it doesn't work. It doesn't, and he wouldn't do it anyway, people, because we're hardwired around Amari's needs. So what? Are they going to take Amari because we look after him? We're there for him. We got that heart of steel. I said that to those women, and I go like this, they're looking at me. Like, you don't know. Like, you have no clue. You talk. That's it. You talk. You don't do the walk. So until you do the walk, you don't know what you're talking about. And you have no right to tell us to put Amari in a position where he could potentially die. Put him in a room by himself. They want the other room cleared out. I don't think so. Why? Oh, because Amari needs to be in that room. Excuse me? Who's going to be in there with him? I'm out here cleaning. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I lay down on the couch thinking, I'll just rest for 5 minutes. I pass out, people, because I work so fucking hard. I'm not no addict that they can just force out of the house and expect me to hook up with the rest of the whatever in the neighborhood and just be abused until I'm lured off to my fucking death. They ain't gonna go like that down with me. I don't think so. No fucking way. I told you this will be my last fight, and it will be the biggest fight that I ever had in my whole life. And I won't stop until I'm dead. There's your social workers doing their goody two-shoes job. They want you depressed. They want you fucking with that cortisol going in your brain. You see, they can't say Andre's a bad kid. Right? I said, Andre says, well, Nana, if they come with the cops to try and get us, right? Even though Andre's 15 years old. If they're so concerned about fucking kids at 15 years old, why don't they go out in the streets and deal with those street kids? Help those kids that need the help. The ones that are running the streets, drugs, addicted, and all this other. No, they got them in their little programs. The programs that Andre wants to hook up into. That's where they got them. Yeah, sure. Well, we know what happens to that. All we have to do is to see what happened to Sierra. Next generation of. But they can't say Andre is a bad kid. He doesn't go out in the community and rob anybody. He doesn't steal from stores. He doesn't vandalize people's houses. He doesn't vandalize public property. He's not rude and disrespectful to anybody he comes into contact when he's out in public. Sure, he has parent-teen conflict with me, but that's normal, and we're working on it, and I talk him through it. And the last time he got mad when I took away the computer from him, he only was fussing in for 20 minutes versus for an hour and a bit. So he's learning how to control his anger. So we're working on, I guess you can say, anger management. When I take away the computer that instigates that anger, right? Because, I'm trying to control him. No, I'm not trying to control him. I tell him, I'm not trying to control you. I'm trying to guide you. These social workers are trying to control everybody. And not only are they trying to control everybody, but they're also taking away opportunities that will never come around again. Just like being evicted. Get out. You're evicted. You're cut off of welfare. Get out. I don't care where you go with your 5 kids in the middle of wintertime, but just get the hell out. Where were the social workers then? And that's what I said to them yesterday. Where were you guys when I got kicked out of my house with my 5 dependent kids? Where were you when I was looking after Gary through the Ministry of Children and Family Development as your agency didn't pay me? And we were all sleeping in one room with a rat-infested fucking house. And we had no place to go, but that was the deal. Look after Gary, and you can live in the shanty shack. If you don't look after Gary, we're going to take Gary away, and the mother's going to kick your ass back out into the streets like we kicked you out in freaking January of 2003. And now they're trying to fucking do it again. Yeah, you think they're going to be happy with just me clearing out a fucking bedroom? Yeah, I don't think so. Because that's not the agenda. They're there to not bring families together, build families up, help families to stay together. They come in to implode the family. They go for the weakest of the weak. Oh, well, we want to talk to Andre. Well, Andre doesn't want to talk to you because he already told you what is on his mind. Oh, well, that's not good enough because we think this, that. Yeah, well, you're not here. You don't deal with the daily grind. You don't have to have that heart of fucking steel. How do you think he'd feel sleeping in the bedroom? Oh, well, you can sleep with Amari anywhere you want. It's okay. You can just, blah. But Andre, he needs this and he needs that. Yeah, well, I told Andre when we clear out the bedroom, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Right? But they want me to clear it out now. So it's back to deja vu. The room will sit empty. The room will sit empty. And will be $30,000 of lost product. Yeah. I'll measure it before I fucking give it away. I told Marina, you can take it. You can have it, Marina. What can I do with it? Nobody helps me to sell it. Nobody helps me to fucking get anything organized in enough time because they're always trashing my shit. Well, now the social workers are trashing my shit. Yeah. They got fucking food outside in the porch for crying out loud. Yeah. There you go. And then they're acting like we don't eat. Well, did they have enough food? Well, I don't know. You just throw it out on the fucking porch. Right? House full of fucking food. What the hell are you talking about? But yeah, don't worry. Marcane and Marina, they make dinner almost every day. Right? We all eat it. I eat it when I'm not mad at them. I cook. Andre cooks. Whatever. It's just stupid. It's really stupid. So yeah, I'm thinking about court. I don't care about a lawyer. I'll get a legal aid lawyer for provincial court if it ever goes to that. If it goes to that, but it's not going to be. No, if this goes to court, like the way these guys are acting, just so they can be on their little power trips, right? Seriously put Amari at risk. Okay, this morning he started with this shit. That's what woke me up. That's what woke me up. So I had to work out his arm. I had to, right, because it gets tight, right? Do this with him. I talk to him, make sure he's not going into seizure. He's fine now, you can hear him. But the point is, you leave him by himself. You don't know what you're going to find when you get back. Nope, you don't know what you're going to fucking find. If he starts choking by himself somewhere, again, you don't know what you're gonna find, and that's what they want. That's what they want for him. And don't forget, he'd have to be completely penciled in with metal bars and padding, so he can't even see out. And I told him that. So why do you keep pushing it? I need a new house. Well, that ain't gonna happen for a while. No kidding. You don't think I don't know that? But I tell Andre, sometimes you just have to make do with what you have. Be grateful for the things that you do have. work with it until you can, make that transition, maybe to go someplace else, whatever it is. Just, learn to be grateful for what you have, right? And understand that you can't have everything when you want it. Yeah, and sometimes you have to make sacrifices. I didn't ask Amari to be born this way, and neither did Andre. But we love him, both of them. They don't want him to love Amari. They don't. They don't want him growing up to be responsible and helping to look after Amari. They don't. Because if they did, they would be more supportive. They would give him praise. They don't praise him for nothing, people. They look for his flaws. And they try and play on his vulnerabilities. Oh, well, you need more privacy. In that kind of your own little space, right? Andre says, well, I said, well, he can go downstairs, whatever. When I'm on my feet for 12 hours. Okay? 12 hours. You watch my videos. You hear me talk. Andre's got his little private time with Amari, hanging out with Amari, right? When I sleep, Andre's doing whatever, right? He's not lewd. I'm not lewd. Andre doesn't run around the house with his pants hanging down with his crack ass showing, right? He doesn't do anything stupid like that. He's well reserved and respectful. I don't run around with, whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? So, no, they're just, they are the, they're just an instrument, just a stage of many stages to dismantle certain families that they target, and they do it consecutively, right? I told them I have no problems with social workers like this coming into my life and disrupting my family and making everybody suicidal and depressed and wanting to run away and die and all this other stupid shit until I got my grandson, basically. And where were you when I was looking after Gary? Not once did they show up in 3.5 years. The whole time I was looking after Gary, under their watch. They never showed up, not once. Yeah, okay. And I was dealing with a drug-addicted teenager. Yeah, because of them. Yeah. Well, not them, but the government, with their negligence. Oh, that's why I'm going to write the fucking lawsuit. I'll bring that right back up. Don't talk to me about statute of limitation. This shit's still going on. You evicted me in fucking 2003. Now you're trying to get these social workers to get me slowly but surely evicted out of this house because they're evicting me. When you're telling me to get rid of $20,000 to $30,000, $40,000 worth of shit just so a room can sit fucking empty because you refuse to hear what we have to say. If we clear it out on our own time at some point over the course of the year and the room is empty and it's just sitting there empty for, outside of what's already in there, well, it is what it is. If we decide to try and use it when it works with Amari, or if Andre wants to go and use it to have, because there's no PC, he's not going to have a PC in it, I can tell you that right now. No TVs, no PC. He can take in the laptop with him from time to time. We just pulled out the laptop, but something's wrong with it, so I have to go take it to a repair shop, so I have to pay to fix it, right? But once the laptop is fixed, that's when we're going to start, hunkering down with, trying to sell stuff. But we don't have anything to sell anymore because the social workers are making us to give it away. They're making us give it away. No point in putting it in storage, it will just spoil. It won't do anything, it will just sit there like a lump on a log. Alright? Don't talk to me about educating Andre when you're taking away his opportunity to learn about math in a serious kind of way. where it actually makes sense. It's called, what is that called? Being financially literate. They don't want him to be financially literate. Okay? They want him to be, I don't know, but not financially literate, because they're going to take away the product to sell. The opportunity to learn how to do it. That's what they're going to do. So a room can sit empty. Yeah. Because I asked him, like, would you honestly sleep in there? With me out here on the couch with Amari? No. Because he's not stupid. And he doesn't want to wake up in the morning and find a disaster and not be a part of the solution. And if you're mad at anybody, get mad at Fraser Health Authority and their staff and a corrupt government for covering up what happened to Amari before you get mad at us for doing the right thing for Amari. So if it gets ugly, it will go back to provincial court. I'll get some kind of lawyer assigned to me through legal aid, and they can fight with me tooth and nail, right? But the minute that happens, you know I'm filing a lawsuit, and it's not, and I won't. I'm not gonna back it down. I'm not gonna back down this time. And I want a trial. I will want a trial. Yeah. I want a trial with the fucking provincial court. I don't care. Whatever. You're gonna wipe me out. You're gonna take me out. You're gonna take out my family, because that's what it feels like. Okay? Because you're not doing anybody any favors here. The only people you're helping are yourselves and your own egos and your own portfolios and your own bonuses. Been there, done that. Too many times to count. This is not 1984. You can't assume and predict these things will happen when there's nothing there to indicate that it's even happened. In other words, there's been no major accidents in this house where that, take out in a gurney or whatever they're trying to accuse of going to happen for me or an Amari. Mainly. They're using Amari and they're using me as a prediction to do what they do, if they're not trying to use Andre, who doesn't even want to talk to them and wants to run away from them now, literally, and is afraid of cops because of them, literally. Yeah, because we don't trust them. We don't trust the process. We can see that they're up to something no good, and they're troublemakers. Yeah, and they want to hurt us. Yeah, and they want to take things away from us. Yeah, and put it us at risk to even more homelessness sooner than later. And when we do become homeless, or we do end up in a shitty fucking place worse than this place, they'll be right back at it, and they'll be coming in with a vengeance, because that's what they do. Yeah. Live in a empty 2-room box, empty, but be expected to be on guard 24/7 in terms of Amari leaks out all the time. So you have a stack of diapers over there. You have blankets, you have pillows, or you're constantly washing. Well, you can get rid of the blankets, you can get rid of the pillows, and if you're going to have diapers, only have a few, because if you don't, it's going to pile up, and the social workers are going to come in, and they're going to complain, and they're going to accuse you of this, and they're going to accuse you of that, but yet they expect you to keep Amari clean with nothing. That's just a rudimentary example of just expectations gone wild. But yeah, even me, I left that meeting yesterday. I was so upset. Yeah, with the rhetoric and the hypocrisy around it all. and I can see my kids are crashing around it, right? You know, bringing us down to a bad state, all of us. And I wanted to run away from home. I just started walking. Mark Kane chased out. What are you doing? So I'm just walking. Oh, well, where you gonna? You know, what do I do with Amari? I said, well, take him downstairs. I'll be back soon enough. Oh, okay. You just gonna walk home, Mom? Or you take taxi? I said, yeah, one or the other. And I'm walking, and I'm like, oh, this is my chance, just to walk away, just walk off into the yonder, because of social workers that are as young as my daughter. Yeah. And I'm like, well, that wouldn't be very good, though. Everybody's depending on you. Suck it up, Buttercup. So I went to my favorite little Punjabi food store. Farmer's market, little Punjabi farmer market. It's one of my favorite ones, right? And I picked up a few things. I bought some corn and some green and red peppers and a head of lettuce for them downstairs, and some corn for me upstairs with some peppers upstairs for Andre and I. And I spent $14 on that, and I felt pretty damn good about it. And then I just took a taxi home. And then I talked to Andre about what his feelings were, and we're all on pins and needles. We don't trust them. We're afraid. Yeah, because of their antics. He's ready to bolt, run away, go to the safe house, go to Brad's, wherever. I said, well, go to Brad's first. If you're going to run away, go to Brad's. Right? Because he doesn't want people trying forcing him to talk. You know, he hasn't done anything wrong. He says if the cops come and try and make him talk or try and make him go with them because of social workers, he's just going to tell him, you can't because I'm not being detained. The only way you can take me is if you detain me. In other words, charge me with something. Charge me with something. But they can't, because he's not a bad kid. They only wish he was a bad kid. They only want to fuck with his cortisol to make him a bad kid. They only want him to be depressed and more rebellious and more this and more that to make him a bad kid. They don't say, gee, Andre, you're a really good kid for helping your Nana out. You're a really good kid, Andre, for staying out of trouble. You're a really good kid for listening to your uncle and doing your school. They don't say none of that shit. They want to take what little money he can learn to make on his own away from him so that they can say, now go and be in that room by yourself. Don't worry about your Nana. Don't worry about Amari. You just go be in there by yourself. And then he'll get mad. And he'll take it out on me because it's displaced anger. Because he's being told to do something that he doesn't want to do. Because he doesn't want to come out in the morning and find a disaster. Because we already have our routine when it comes to Amari. We're not completely happy with it. You honestly think I like sleeping on a freaking couch for 4 fucking years? You try it and see how you feel. But I do it. Because it's been that long. We figured it out. Because I was sleeping on the, well, 2 years anyway. And no, it's been a while. Yeah, it's been 3-4 years. Because that's the best place when it comes to being woke up. But now I want to move. So I'm trying to pay down my bills. liquidate. Get Andre some more basic core life skills before we go to the next location. And then start fresh with that mattress on the floor with the bean bags and build around that, with Andre having his own room whether he uses it or not. Because where the mattress will be with the bean bags, there will also be an easy recliner. I'd like to have a couch, as well as probably a single bed somewhere in there. So that if he wants to sleep in that room, he can. Where the room that would be his would be with musical instruments, the DJ equipment, that kind of stuff, yada-de-yada. And that's assuming that these so-called do-gooders don't make me give that shit away yet, too. Because you know once I'm going to move, I'm going to have to get rid of even more shit. This is just the precursor to get me out, to get it started. Get rid of your stuff. Get rid of your stuff. Get rid of your stuff. Get rid of everything. Yeah. We get rid of everything. Yeah. Okay, well, we know how that one rolls. I'm paying out $3,000 this year for stuff that my landlady should be paying for. Yeah, because she had over 2 years to work with me on this yard in terms of whatever went down in January could have been dealt with 2 years ago. And maybe the porch wouldn't be in such a disarray it is right now. But, you know, what is it to her if I spend $3,000 extra this year on things that, it's that caste system. That's what it is. It's like these immigrants that come to, I'm going to leave it on this note. It's like these immigrants that come to Canada and they're defecating and urinating and throwing all their garbage around in public parks and you know, where there's lakes and that, you know, where people go to a lake to go swim and stuff like that, and those kind of places. They're defecating and urinating right there on the freaking sand, for crying out loud, leaving their garbage everywhere. And it's because they feel that they are above those below them that will go and clean it up for them. Yeah. Well, that's kind of how it goes with these houses. We're below the landlord, so therefore we have to pay for those things that go on, like what's on the porch and shit like that. And mice and shit. Oh, yeah. Something's still running around up there, but it's moving around. So being that I'm paying for this crap, the guy has to put some freaking rat poison up there, because it would be a rat. So it's a roof rat. How many's up there? I don't know. How they're getting in? I don't know. And I talked to my neighbor about this crappy water that's coming out of these pipes for the last 2-3 months. And she said she's having the same problem. And it's actually quite bad because she filled up her bathtub and the water was coming in all brown and shit. And it smells and it tastes terrible and blah, blah, blah. And her backyard, her walnut tree, is uprooting itself. Apparently the roots are showing now. She figures the next windstorm that comes, the bloody thing's going to fall down. It's already, my son already had to cut half of it because it's being uprooted from the ground. Because there's a 100-year-old septic tank under the ground on her property. And last year it was starting to come up with the boards. That's how she knows, right? And I guess it keeps pushing itself up because of all this building crap that they're doing. Digging up the ground and disrupting the ground and oversaturating the ground and everything with what they're doing. And now the walnut tree, the roots are actually showing. I asked her if I could take a video on this. She said, yeah. So I'm going to be doing that pretty soon. And up by her little gazebo area, there's like big cracks in the ground where she said it's very frightening to even look at it. And then, of course, when it rains, it starts to, you know, flood in the backyard because of what's going on with this construction shit. And yeah, so that's maybe why our water is no good right now. Maybe it has something to do with that septic tank. So I have to clean up Gabe's mess. As soon as I clean up Gabe's mess, I do a few things outside, I'm calling the city. And I'm going to ask them to figure out what's going on with this water. And yeah, because it's bad. And maybe it's coming from over there. It's coming from the buildings, from the ground being ripped up. As soon as they started digging next door at that duplex, like really digging into the ground. As soon as they started digging into the ground, that's when the water changed. So probably be barking up another dead tree because, you know, corruption. Nobody's going to take no responsibility for it. If anything, you know, it's just a means to run you out of your house even more. So if it's not the social workers telling you to get rid of your shit, right? Don't care about the cost. Don't care about the lost opportunity. Don't care about your sentimental value to the things that you're having to get rid of. Don't care about what the end result's going to be after it's getting rid of, in terms of nobody's going to use that room. It's basically going to sit empty. And you know, if we do it on our terms and slowly but surely liquidate whatever, because I have to switch things around, right? And you know, let's just say we're all done, and you know, we're looking at the room. Well, like I said, it was empty before and we didn't use it. It was empty before. I couldn't put Mari in there by himself. Andre didn't want it. I'd put Amari and Andre to bed. Andre would want to go to sleep. Amari is bouncing around at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. Because I was out here working on shit or doing something, right? In those days, a lot of paperwork. This time around, if I end up in court, I know the whole thing is a sham. They try and throw in their legislation at us. Legislation is a sham. It doesn't mean anything. It only benefits them, and it doesn't benefit the people like that are on the receiving end of it. And when you find something in the legislation where they're supposed to do something to protect, you know, like you know, they have a protocol, and if they don't follow the protocol, it becomes a breach of trust, right? Which actually falls under the criminal code of Canada. As a government worker, when you go through this, is like, we're dealing with breach of trust here. When you got Andre wanting to run away from fucking cops and all that shit, or social workers, as soon as they show up at the door trying to force him to do something he doesn't want to do, and he wants to run to a safe house, like, come on, what's that telling you if that's not a breach of trust? Like, that's messed up, okay? It's fucking messed up. And for what? For what? Anyway. Yeah. Legislation means nothing. So, I'm not going to get bent out of shape out of it. But I'm glad I still have my binders with that legislation. Not that I can read it anymore, but I don't need to say very much. Just enough to get my point across, because I don't expect to win, because you're just beating your head up against the wall. And that's why you will own nothing. And I can guarantee you won't be happy. Don't let them fool you with you will own nothing and you will be happy part. Forget the happy part. No, they don't want you happy. Okay? They want you as miserable as they can possibly make you, basically. Okay. October 7th of 2025. I am going to call this video along this line here. I shouldn't have to feel bad I shouldn't have to feel bad. And why am I feeling bad? Well, because I have things on my floor. I got a stack of jars over there. That's an example. I'm going to can these grapes today because they've been in the fridge for a couple of days. But Andre has to fill up the jars, so I'm going to wash the jars now as I'm feeling bad because I'm having panic attacks, right? Because of what's going on with these social workers. Because, that still hasn't been dealt with. I'm under a magnifying glass, right? I could be caught in the act at any moment in terms of doing something bad, like having jars over there, because I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing in terms of I did the collagen. I got them in my room, so that's good. I still have to do the fish collagen, which I'll work on within the next few weeks. That's it. That's the chicken claw with the thigh. Right? I feel bad for that because, it's taking up my time away from other things. Amari's had a cold, right? And in the last week, 2 times, he was gagging because of whatever, and, spit up or whatever, and, we jump, and, right, and you get that heart of steel, and, you deal with it, you want to make sure he doesn't go into seizure, and you want to make sure he's not fucking choking, and then, of course, the laundry piles up with that, so, of course, you got to do laundry. And now something wrong with my wash machine. I think something got inside underneath. So I might be looking at more money for that if it doesn't work itself out soon. But the point is it's like psychological warfare where you just, sometimes you just want to shut down. You just want to, I don't want to say give up, but, you get depressed, right? And, fear is a very powerful weapon for people that wield it as a tool to be in control of your life. And it's like I tell Andre, these people that dictate, do this, doesn't matter who it is or where it could, could have been the city of the Surrey with the yard and landlord with the yard, or after whatever, and then, it used to be the feeding team, and, it was that doctor, and, like Amari brings, like, a lot of, people that, but they don't do anything. They're not there. They're not cleaning up after him. They're not doing anything for him other than putting you in a position where you feel constantly inadequate because you can't fix the initial problem in terms of the cerebral palsy to the degree that he's been affected by it. All you can do is work on trying to give him a quality of life where he's happy and he's safe. And when you try and do that, people are still not satisfied. Right? So, and then depending on who they are, it's just... And it comes in waves, and, so, I can only do so much in a day, right? And, if I spend 2 days doing this stuff, well, what do you think happens? Right? Then I have to catch up with the laundry, and of course I'm doing dishes as I'm doing the daily grind, not only the regular day dishes, but I'm washing big ass pots and, and canners and jars, just whatever. And like I have jars that I bought, they're brown, the amber jars, for example. I bought 12 of them. I wanted to leave 4 of them to try and grow herbs in under a grow light. Because I read that if you put those clay pebbles, which I have, into them and you grow a herb, because they're ambered, the jars, they don't grow algae inside the water. So I want to try that, right? So I'm going to keep 4 for that reason, for sure. So that leaves me 8 other jars that I need to fill up. But I have seasoning salt that I bought in bulk that I need to take out of the plastic container, like this kind of container, and put them into jars so that in 5 years from now you're good to go. I'm just saying, and that's just a fact. Whether people appreciate it or not, you know what? It's beyond that point now. The point is, if I'm around in 5 years, I'll appreciate it. Yeah. Whether I can see or not. And then I have those little soup broth containers, right? That I said I was going to pull out, and I did, and I got them in a box. They're in the hall right now because I took them out of my bedroom yesterday. A fair-sized box. There's gravy mixes, all those, you know, the beef broth, the chicken stock, yada-de-yada. And what do I have to do? I got to take them out of those containers because they're not moisture proof, right? I'll get it. I'll show you. So yeah, I'm like at the tail end of my food preps, right? So these things, right? We already went through that. This is a cardboard. You don't want to store this stuff long term in these because cardboard absorbs moisture. And so leave it by your stove or whatever, anywhere, right? It's gonna get hard, eh? Doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that, you know. Anyway, these are like $5, $6 depending on where you buy them, right? So I gotta open up all of these and jar them up into liter-sized jars. Now, because they're going into long-term food storage, and I got boxes that I can put them in that came in with the amber jars, right? I don't need to use the amber jars for these. So that means what I have to do to get, you know, to fill to capacity, right? This jar is a little bigger than a regular malt. So for this kind of stuff, you want to pack it full, right? And then put it in a cool, dark place. So I'm going to empty out these, as many as I can, and either put them in, I don't know what this is, honestly. There's nothing on it. You know, obviously that can go into a pint-sized jar. What is it? I don't know. Yeah, I think it's like a dehydrated sour cream or a dehydrated yogurt or something like that. Okay. Maybe. Either or is edible. Right? So we're going to empty these into, like, I'm going to gather up as many as of these, rejar them up into smaller jars or whatever, so that I can free these up, these jars, for this stuff. Crime of the century. I have a few packs of this. Get them out of the packaging, put them in a jar. Right? Instant thickener. Right? That's all going to take work. Some of these jars, I may end up putting the stuff into the amber jar just so I can get these jars for this stuff, and then after the fact I'm put these in the box that came in with the amber jars, so they'll be out of the, out of the light, right? Or you can even just put them on a flat and cover them up. It doesn't matter as long as they're out of this stuff. Same thing with this. Now this is a metal can. I've got a few of these kicking around. I don't know how well this would sit in a metal can. Maybe I'll leave one. I got 2 or 3 or 4 of them kicking around, right? Long term, right? Maybe I'll just open up one and jar one up, and I don't know. The point is, I definitely have to do these ones. And I definitely have to do the seasoning salt, High's seasoning salt. And I have quite a few containers of those, and get them out of the plastic. That all takes time. That all takes time, people. It all takes time. And I feel like crap. I feel like I'm doing something so bad. Yeah, because, I don't have a functioning kitchen. Because I don't have a functioning porch. And you can honestly say I don't even have functioning storage area for things that can't be outside for any length of time. So, that's why I feel like I'm doing something bad. Or whatever I said I was going to call this video. Which is stupid. Completely freaking stupid. So before I get too caught up with that feeling, I am going to can these grapes. Because they will be good as a base for juice, or I can add it to juice in terms of organic grape juice after I do what I do with them, or I can use them by taking out the seeds and then grinding it up. And use them with desserts or something. Or whatever. And that makes me feel bad too.
I have to go put the clothes in the dryer now. And I'm taking on my 2 blankets. I'll have to come back home for the third one, okay?
Yeah, you do what you gotta do. I'm gonna...
That's what I have to do last.
I am going to wash jars, get them in the convection oven. As soon as they're ready, you're going to fill up the jars for me. And I'm going to can them, and I'm not going to be stupid. Even though I feel like I'm doing something bad. Yeah. There's no way to live your life. Mm-mm. So anyway, it will take me a week or so to do all that, depending on how much laundry I have, or what, dishes, just whatever, right? Okay, I'm not feeling very motivated here because I feel bad, right? I'm on like, what is that called? Paralyzed with fear. I'm doing a video. I'm talking about how I'm feeling today. I'm paralyzed with fear. Everybody's scared. Andre's scared. Marina's scared.
I'm not scared. I'm just nervous.
Oh, Andre said he's not scared. He's just nervous.
So is Marina. Marina's just nervous about it.
Oh, Marina's just nervous about it too in terms of this meeting coming up soon. All right. So, and that's not including the spot checks. Why do you have those jars on your floor taking up the path? Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to preserve the spices and the gravy mixes and those kind of things for long term so that I don't have to buy it in 5 years from now when it's going to cost $100 for one container, assuming you can find it. I'm just using that as an example. Okay? I'm just saying. So in the meantime, I got to deal with these grapes, but I'm paralyzed with fear. And I'm having a bad freaking day because I'm depressed with the bull crap. Because people treat me like I'm less than an infant. I'm not even human, for crying out loud. I'm not walking dead already. Okay? As they're plotting and scheming behind my back how to throw my shit out when they're not stealing it. I'm just using that as an example as to why I feel like crap, because that's what's been going on already. So why would it change? It wouldn't. As I go to the eye doctor, and the only thing that happens is my eyes get worse. As a matter of fact, I was working on my playlist yesterday when I did that video, Just Listen, because Amari was in the background. And that was like at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when I was doing that, people. So, and I came across a video because, I just need to get my records from the eye doctor to determine what day I had and what day I did this and what day that, right? Anyway, it was in June of, I think 2022. That's when they did that eye surgery with that rotor-rooter crap. Yeah. Or it was in 2023. I can't remember. Either or. As soon as that doctor, and they mixed up my medication, right, before surgery, and then the doctor, after the fact, when he figured it out, because I brought my medication in, and he wanted me to continue, and I said, well, here's the bottles, right? Tell me what, they're all mixed up. All the labels are on the wrong bottle, and he started pulling off the labels and putting them on, writing on the label what the bottle was, right? And so they had me for a week taking medication wrong, the pharmacy, before I even had the surgery. And as soon as I had the surgery, with that rotor-rooter, and it changed the cataract, that's when everything went blurry. And it's been blurry ever since. My eyes were already dark, in a cloud, dark. But I could see a little better because it was clear, right? But as soon as I had that surgery, that was it. It was game over. And it's just getting worse and worse and worse. Blurriness never stopped, just gets worse. And it gets darker, even though it looks like I have the same amount of approximate octave nerves in the right eye. But either or. And now that I'm thinking about it, the last time how he convinced me to have that surgery was my pressure was in the 20s, 21, 20s. He says, no. We have to bring it down to 15 in the teens, 15, 16 PSI. Because if we don't, you're going to go blind in 2 months. So what he said to me just last week, he also said to me right before that surgery. That was why I did it, because if I wasn't going to do it, with the pressure being at 21 or whatever the hell it was too high in his opinion, and I'd lose my eyesight in my right eye too. But as soon as I did the surgery, everything went blurry, and it's just been getting darker and darker while it stays blurry. Okay, regardless. So but I'm doing. I'm paying out $2,100 for nothing, as I'm got no wood to work with, no materials, none of that crap. Okay, all right. Still holding down the fort, paying for stupid mice that technically is not my responsibility to plug up the freaking outside walls and all this stupid crap. Whatever, I'm paying for that. I pay for my freaking stove to be repaired. Looks like I might have to have a technician to come in and look at my wash machine. You know, I'll pay for that, right? I pay the extra hydros. You know, I cover the gas. You know, I've made sure that if I kick off tomorrow, they've got their rent covered for over a year, as well as, you know, whatever, and then they can liquidate and get themselves $50,000 on junk when they're not throwing it out. I'm just saying. So it's not like I'm being irresponsible here, but, you know, I just feel like everybody's treating me like I am. Yeah, because of what's going on right now. You know. Like, it's just stupid. So in the meantime, I'm trying to convince myself to do these grapes. Because this is true. Bill Gates appeal. Toxic fruit and veg you're eating. You buy these fruits and vegetables from the grocery stores. They come. You let them out. They're not ripe, right? So you have to let them sit out for a little while to try and get ripe. Cantaloupes will start to mold. What is that called? Papayas will start to mold. Mangoes will start to mold. Plums or they shrivel up and they turn into like plastic food, literally. You know, if they're not molding before their time and you can't eat them because, right, you're waiting for it to ripen, they're shriveling up, right? And they become like plastic. It's true. Grapes, right? Grapes can sit out. These grapes that you buy from the grocery store, big grapes, whatever, grapes you buy, you leave them out and they don't really mold. They just shrivel up and turn into plastic. Like, it's pathetic. So I get really reluctant buying certain fruits from the grocery store. Because, you know, it's just whatever. It's because of this crap that they're spraying on it. It's supposed to extend the life of the fruit and the vegetables. Yeah, extend the life of it. I don't know. They either spoil it real fast because they're molding before they ripen, or they just, like I say, they shrivel up and just, ugh. So, you know, I gotta do these grapes. No matter how I'm feeling. See? I'm working with jars right now. Can you see that? Right? Maybe in the winter time, when I'm a little caught up with other things, that's when I can go downstairs and grab those cans that I bought years ago of fruit and repurpose. These ones, I don't know. I told you what I want for the spices. And the broth, the soup bases and all that crap. So right now I'm just, you know, going through jars, being depressed. Because everything's so blurry and dark. Like, it's pathetic. Like, this guy, he hurt my eyes more. And, like, these, you know, I got. And, I have to wash those ones. But I'm just looking for jars that I can use for these grapes to make it easy on myself. I could just put them in the 1 size liter jar. But I should probably save them for something else. Yeah. Not those ones. I could use these ones. It's a different size rim. I do have lids. I don't want them. I don't want those. I thought maybe just do them in liter size jars, but I think it'd be better just to do them in pint size. But I don't want to open up a new box just for a few extra jars. So I'm just scrounging around for jars right now. Very, very moody. And you see this one's chipped. I can feel it. You can't use chipped jars. Not for canning. You can use them for something else. You can take a little piece of sandpaper and sand that down if you wanted to. I'm just saying. Yeah, ever since that guy poked around in my eye, did whatever he did, it's been sore. Oh, how many days has it been now? I went on the 1st. Today's the 7th. Was it the 1st or the 2nd? I don't know. Something like that. So, for 5 days it's been sore. Go figure. Go freaking figure. Yeah. Okay, that's not where those jars are. What about this one? Honestly, I don't want to can with these ones right now. I'm trying to avoid opening up a box because I have to stack things nicely so they don't become a heat score. Because I still need to repurpose the fruit downstairs that's in metal cans. I can do that in the winter time, assuming I can see. Which more than likely I'll be able to see something, but it's just, it's not very fun, let's just put it that way. No. And then they're going to want to do another surgery on me. Oh joy, more than likely I'm going to do this other drop. It was making me feel really tired and sick the last time I used it. But before I do the surgery, I'm going to try and use it again. Either or, if the pressure doesn't go down, then another surgery. What, mix up my medication again? Play it off like it's nothing? The world is such a very, very, very bad place. Okay, so it's just a Mod Podge of jars. Hopefully I'll get them in the canner. Okay, I'm just going to put this in this video. YouTube antics. October 8th of 2025. Do you see this? Okay, it was like this a week ago. It was over $10, then it dropped. And then it went all the way up to $11 within the last week. And then yesterday or the day before, it dropped down to $10. And now we're at $9.76. Okay?